Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by CFFC Featherweight Champion, Jared Gordon. Jared, how are you?
I'm well. How you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for asking. Jared, you got a fight coming up February 18th at CFFC 63. How's training been going for the fight?
Training is going very well. I'm in shape already, 5 weeks out, and I couldn't be any happier with the way everything's going, so definitely excited.
You're fighting Bill Algeo. What are your thoughts about him as an opponent?
He's tough. He's got experience. He's long. He's taller and longer than me, so that presents some problems. But he's got like sporty jiu-jitsu. I wouldn't say it's like top heavy, like pressure jiu-jitsu. He's crafty. I think his wrestling is kind of like, it's good. It's not the best, but he's definitely tough, and he comes to fight. He's got a good gas tank. And his kickboxing is decent. I wouldn't say like he's got great boxing, but he's long. And he likes to do crafty things like spinning elbows and like flying knees and like stuff like that. So I think it's going to be a really good fight. But I think I have too much to offer. I think I'm gonna stop him, to be honest.
Back on December 17th at CFFC 62, you were supposed to have a fight against Featherweight King of Pancrase, Andy Main, but unfortunately you suffered an injury and had to pull out of that fight. What exactly was the injury, and was this very serious or just serious enough to force you out of that bout?
I would say it was pretty serious. I had to have surgery, so I had a septum hematoma, which is basically cauliflower ear in your septum. Mm-hmm. So I couldn't breathe at all, and they tried to drain it 3 times, and it wouldn't work. So I followed up with a surgeon, and it was also very painful. So I couldn't really do any training, like as far as sparring or wrestling or jiu-jitsu. So I saw the surgeon, and he said, "Yep, you got to have surgery, and while we're at it, we will contour your septum because your nose is destroyed as it is." Mm-hmm. So I had to go under, the knife, so to speak, and they put me, the whole nine, anesthesia and whatnot. So it was, and then I had, it was like 3-4 week recovery time. So it was serious enough where I definitely couldn't fight. It's actually a really rare condition where you have to break your nose in a certain way, mm-hmm. where it hits like a blood vessel, mm-hmm. and the blood vessel bleeds into an area where it can't come out of your nose. So normally when you get a bloody nose, it just leaks out of your nose. Mm-hmm. This time I got a bloody nose where it was just filling up in the septum in like a cavity, I guess. Mm. So, I was doing a lot of boxing sparring, and so I was getting hit, in the face a lot, and I started feeling pressure like in my nose. It wasn't that bad, and I kept training, and like 2-3 weeks went by, and then finally one night I just was coming home from the gym, and I had like so much pressure in my face where my teeth were hurting, like my top teeth were hurting, the right side of my face, my right eye was killing me. So I went to the ER, and they're like, "Yeah, you have a septum hematoma," and it's a really rare condition. Actually, the main doctor in the ER was like, "Wow, I haven't seen one of these in over 10 years, and if you don't mind, we're gonna have all the residents come around and look at your nose because they've never seen this before. It's actually very rare." So it was kind of funny actually at the same time, but so it was pretty crappy because I wanted to fight Andy, but mm-hmm. I guess everything happens for a reason.
Now, obviously, this fight is still a few weeks away, so the promotion for this fight will be cranked up by you and CFFC as we get closer to fight night. But from what you posted on social media back in December for the fight against Andy Main, it feels like you were more excited for that fight against Andy Main than you are for this fight that's going to be happening with Bill Algeo. Is that accurate? Are you less excited about this fight against Bill Algeo than the Andy Main fight that was supposed to happen back in December? Is that accurate at all? Because from what you've been posting on social media, it certainly seems like that.
No, I'm actually kind of excited to punch this guy in the face because he's got a big mouth and he thinks he's like Conor McGregor or something. I don't know what he thinks. Like he's talking like a bunch of bullshit and no, it's not that I'm less excited. I'm just not going to run my mouth because I'm at this level of fighting. Like it's not like by me talking crap is going to get me paid anymore. You know. Mm-hmm. So I'll just like hold my energy for the fight itself. But I'm actually really excited to fight this guy. He's a tough guy, but I think I'm too much for him. I think I have too much to offer for him. He's definitely tough. He's crafty. He's got crafty jiu-jitsu. He's got pretty decent kickboxing. He's got good cardio. But I just don't think that he's enough to stop me or put me in too much danger.
What do you think his camp is telling him to do against you in this fight?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they're telling him to keep me at a distance, you know, with his jabs and his keeps and stuff like that, his front kicks. But I feel like he's going to try to take me down. But I'm ready for everything. I've been training, I've been wrestling, I've been doing jiu-jitsu, I've been boxing, I've been kickboxing, so I mean, I'm ready for wherever the fight goes. But I just think that I think I'm going to be too much for him. I think it's going to end in the later rounds, though.
This fight between you and Bill Algeo has been a long time coming because in the past you were scheduled to fight him and the fight never took place. And we've gone on this wild ride with many twists and turns to get back to this point, and CFFC has kind of put on an unofficial featherweight tournament because of all the stuff that's happened over the last few years. The CFFC Featherweight belt was vacant. You fought against Jeff Lentz for the title. Jeff Lentz ended up beating you because of a doctor's stoppage. You were winning the fight up into that point, but because the doctor stepped in and stopped the fight, Jeff Lentz walked away with the belt. Then you were scheduled to have a fight against him, a rematch for the belt, unfinished business, but that fight didn't end up happening on Halloween night in 2015 because you ended up suffering injury. So that fight never took place between you and Jeff Lentz. You didn't get a chance at redemption and to prove that had the doctor not stopped the fight, you would have won the title back when you guys first met. So instead of fighting you, Jeff Lentz ended up fighting Bill Algeo at CFFC 57, and that fight was supposed to be his first defense of the title. It was supposed to be a title fight that ended up being just a 5-round fight because Bill Algeo and Jeff Lentz both missed weight. Bill Algeo should have won the title that night, but because he missed weight, Jeff Lentz was stripped, and because of Algeo not making weight, the belt was vacated, and it remained vacant until you won the title back at CFFC 59 against Anthony Morrison when you knocked him out with a beautiful head kick. So we've gone on this wild ride to get back to this point, and that isn't even the wild stuff, because after winning the title, you fought in a non-title fight at lightweight back at CFFC 60 back in August, and then after that, you were supposed to have 2 title defenses. You had them scheduled, but because of injury, the fight never took place against Adam Ward. That was supposed to happen in October of last year, and then obviously the Andy Main fight was supposed to happen in December. This fight against Bill Algeo makes all the sense in the world because had he made weight that night that he fought against Jeff Lentz, he would have the title. So my question to you is, why did we have to go through all this? Why did they schedule you for fights against Adam Ward and Andy Main when Bill Algeo has been around all this time? Why were you scheduled to have fights against Andy Main and Adam Ward, and why did they decide to not go in that direction and rebook you against one of those two guys, and why have they now brought in Algeo for you to fight on February 18th? How did this fight all come together?
So I don't know what happened to Adam, but Andy got offered to fight on that Road FC $1 million tournament in Korea.
Mm-hmm.
So he took that instead of fighting me, and so they gave it to Algeo. So I was supposed to fight Andy. I had to have the nose surgery. Then Algeo filled in. Then Algeo pulled out because he hurt his ribs, apparently. And then they got another replacement, some kid from Brazil, to fight Andy. And then Andy pulled out the week before the fight with rib injury also. So the interim title never happened. And since Andy got offered this fight in Korea, they gave it to Algeo.
Someone who a lot of people wanted to see you fight against was Shane Burgos. A lot of people wanted to see you fight Burgos in CFFC and for the featherweight belt, but he ended up getting signed with the UFC and making his Octagon debut not too long ago. Now, obviously, I'm sure you were happy for him because he got signed to the UFC and he's having success doesn't mean that you can't get signed to the UFC and you can't have success. I'm sure you were happy that he got signed by the UFC, but did it bother you that he got the call to fight in the UFC and you didn't? Because here you are, you're the champion of the organization he came from, and he never beat you. You guys never fought, so it wasn't that MMA math deal where, yes, you have the belt, but in the past he beat you. That situation never came into play. But still, does it bother you that a guy who was just a contender in the organization that you're the champion of, does it bother you that he got signed and you didn't?
I mean, I definitely wasn't thrilled about it, and I was wondering why, they didn't call for me, or maybe they did. But the day before they called, I notified CFFC of my injury. So maybe they did call for me, but I was injured, so they had to give it to the next guy. Or maybe they called looking for Shane in particular. I really don't know. But Shane is a great kid. I'm friendly with him. I thought we would be fighting each other in CFFC. I think we were getting close to fighting each other. I had agreed at one point to fight him, and I don't know, it never happened. But I am happy for him because he deserves it, He's got a family, or he's got a baby on the way, so, it's great to see people succeed, and it's good to have CFFC guys go to UFC and win, especially the way he did in his last fight. So I think it's good for me anyways to have a guy who's not the champion in my weight class from CFFC go to UFC and finish the way, or win the fight the way he did. And so I think it's good no matter what. Like, I'm not going to, any CFFC guy goes to UFC before me, only thing I would want them to do is win, because it just makes us look better,
Does a win on February 18th get you signed by the UFC?
To be honest, I really don't know. I would like to say yes, but with the way UFC, goes about choosing whoever they want to fight is beyond me, because my record is better than a lot of guys in UFCs. Mm-hmm. And I really couldn't tell you. I think it's like, time and place and opportunity and maybe who you know. But, I'm not trying to look into the future. I'm trying to stay in the present and just keep my eye on the prize, what's ahead of me. I'm not looking past Algeo at all. I think it is do or die, though. Like, I think that a loss will set me back big time, but a win may or may not get me there. So, I have to win no matter what, obviously, so the stakes are very high, but that doesn't guarantee me anything. And I've come to realize that already. You know, the last two fights, I thought maybe that would be it. You know, but I know after a loss, they're not taking people, you know, after one or two wins. But so I'm just trying to stay on the road. Like, I love fighting. I love to do this, and I'm just trying to stay in the present time and not get my hopes up for anything.
Jared, real quick before I let you go, do you have any sponsors you'd like to thank, and is there anything you want to say to the fans?
Not really, to be honest. Maybe to my family and my friends and coaches, but you know how the sponsorship deals go nowadays.
Right.
No one's really doing me any favors, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
Jared, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it. Good luck. February 18th at CFFC 63 against Bill Algeo.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it.